Hi guys, welcome back to Lisa Lives. Today I'm going to talk about something I've been meaning to have a little rant about for quite a while. The t-shirt may be a bit of a clue. Now I will say before I start that one of the people on my channel who is called the Horror Miser, Monty G, whose link I will place in the description, did actually do a vlog about this very recently. It jogged my memory. It's thought, oh, I've been meaning to do this for ages. So it's not a copycat vlog by any stretch of the imagination, so apologies to Horror Miser if he thinks that's the case. It is going to be a little bit different from what he did. Basically, yes, The Walking Dead. I have been a viewer of The Walking Dead since it started back in season 1. I did stop watching for a while. I'll go into when that was a bit later. But basically this is just why I think The Walking Dead needs to end. It's gone on for too long now. It's a programme I do enjoy, but the quality of the show, in my opinion, for the last couple of seasons has gone dramatically downhill. I've just written some little bits because I can't remember this all off the top of my head. So I will say, if you aren't up to date with The Walking Dead, if it's something you're going to watch and haven't yet watched, best not watch the video because it is going to be full of spoilers up to the point that we're at now. I have never read the comics, obviously, that the show is based on, so unlike a lot of other people, I don't know how it ends. I've got quite a good idea, but obviously there'll be nothing about that either because I'm a comic virgin myself. I don't really read comic books. So just a really, well, as fast as I can manage, recap of the seasons and what I felt about them. We started off in season 1 with, it's a good idea to get the main character's name in your head before you start, with Rick Grimes waking up in the hospital in a coma and the world has gone to shit basically. And in that first season we meet a lot of the greater cast. We meet Morgan, who comes back in a later season. We meet Glenn, we meet Laurie and what's Rick's son's called? Carl. Rick's best friend, who is now having a relationship with his wife because they believe Rick is dead. Carl. We meet a lot of the mainstay cast of the show. And for me, personally, this first season was incredible. The special effects were amazing. It didn't pull punches. It got straight in there where other things don't. We needed a big budget, proper horror zombie freak show of a show, and I felt this really was the show. I really enjoyed it. Couldn't wait for season 2. It was one of my new favourite shows. So that sums up season 1 for me. I'm not going to go into loads of detail, but season 1, really promising. Season 2 is when we meet Hershel and the group spend a lot of time at the farm. Now, I have, from seeing other people's viewpoints, heard a lot of people thought this was a very slow season, didn't like it, not a lot of action. I actually really enjoyed this season. I liked the development of the characters, which I thought was very good. I liked the character of Hershel. I liked the progression to the safe haven of the farm. What else have I got? In this one, Hershel, the owner of the farm, is a vet, and he manages to save Carl's life. Carl gets accidentally shot when someone's hunting with an arrow. So it's kind of like tense back and forth. Is he going to live? Is he going to die? You know, from someone that hasn't read the comics and doesn't know what's going to happen. I thought it was a really good season. Really enjoyed season 2. Season 3. This is where things started to go a little bit downhill for me. Probably more so ending of season 3, start of season 4. This is when the prison was introduced. Now, I felt when the prison was introduced that this was going to be an amazing location to film this series. Just the possibilities were endless within that prison. And I was really disappointed when they basically just used a tiny portion of the prison. Character progression, the fleshing out of characters seemed to stop quite a bit in this season. What have I written down here? Season 3 is where we lose Laurie. Maggie and Carl manage to save the baby. Laurie's pregnant, and they cut the baby out of... I really hope no one's watched this that doesn't want any spoilers. I did warn you. They cut the baby out, and Laurie dies, which... that was one of those things, you know. I think she was the first major character we lost, and it was a bit, you know, shocking. It's like they've done a Game of Thrones on us. They've killed off a major character. So that was good. Also, within this season, we were introduced to the Governor in Woodbury. I never liked the whole Woodbury thing, the Governor character. I know a lot of people did. I found it very boring, dull. I didn't feel we got involved enough with the new characters to care what was happening to them, what was going on. I stopped watching, I think it was season 4. It was either the end of season 3 or the start of season 4. I got fed up, I stopped watching. Season 4, mainly it's set in the prison and trying to get to Terminus. I started watching, as far as I'm aware, again at the beginning of season 5. The only reason I started watching again is everyone else had got to season 7, I think. Was it season 7? Maybe season 6. Everyone else had got to the major, big scene with Negan and Glenn, and everyone was talking about it. I was trying to avoid spoilers left, right and centre, but everyone was quite excited about The Walking Dead again, and I thought, So I started watching from the season after when I stopped, so I started watching again from season 5 and went through the next couple of seasons within the space of a month or so, just one on top of the other, which to be honest was a much more enjoyable way of watching it than waiting each week for another one. I think things have become so much more slow that one a week is really not enough. I think watching quite a few in succession improves it a bit for me anyway, but obviously since I'd caught up last season, I've been watching one a week like everyone else. So season 5, starting at the Terminus, we meet Father Gabriel, the church, we meet Eugene. Eugene as a character I can't stand. Just get rid of that man, honestly. Also, Grady Memorial Hospital, somewhere else I felt should not... what was the point, really? Beth is there, wants to escape. She meets... is it Noah? Is it called Noah? Yeah, Noah. Really nice character, Noah. Really liked him. Really pissed off that they killed him off. Just, ugh. That Memorial Hospital, the whole plotline. Again, a lot of people complain about the fact that they concentrate on characters and plot lines that people don't care about. And to me, the hospital is just a whole storyline that people don't care. They don't give a damn. Half of the prison season is just ridiculous. Who mows the lawn? It's always cut. You never see anyone cutting it. That peeves me. So, yeah, so we've got Gabriel, Noah, Beth, hospital, and nearing the end of this season, we're introduced to Aaron and the promise of Alexandria. And it's like, oh, things are picking up a little bit here. What's going on? The Wolves also is shown at the end of this one, which is a group with the W on their head that's threatening the existence or the future of Alexandria. Obviously the group at the start are very mistrusting, don't believe that you get something for nothing, don't want to give up their weapons because that's the rules for living in the compound. Slowly they're won over, as is usually the case. Season 6, I think to me, of the recent seasons, has been the best season since the start. Season 6, we've got the Wolves attack, we've got the Watchtower in Alexandria collapses, all the walkers manage to get in. The founder of Alexandria, the woman, she's killed. The rest when trying to escape by covering themselves in guts. A fight breaks out then and Carl accidentally gets shot in the eye. My husband was very disappointed. Right from the beginning he has hated Carl, the character. He just irritates my husband. And when he got shot first of all in an earlier season, season 2 with the arrow, and is saved by Herschel, then he's shot in the eye in this season and survives again. Darren was practically tearing his hair out. He's like, get rid of him! So anyway, he's shot in the eye. We meet Jesus from the hilltop. We meet Gregory, the head of the hilltop, Arsel. They find out in this season about Negan and the Saviours. They offer to help Hilltop and kill the Saviours. They don't quite understand the enormity of it all. They think there's just one outpost. They don't realise just how many people there are, what they're taking on. In this season, Carol leaves. She's had enough with all the killing. The doctor in Alexandria, who we've just started to get to know, and it looks like she is falling in love with one of the other girls in the show, whose name escapes me. Anyway, just as we start to care about her, she gets killed. This is the season, Maggie is pregnant at this stage, and this is the season that they take her out en route to Hilltop to try to get her some medical attention, because the doctor at their place has been killed. And this culminates in the end of season that everyone was talking about, which is why I started watching it again, where if you have watched this far and you excuse me, you haven't seen The Walking Dead and you ever are going to watch it, I urge you not to watch the next bit. It's probably the biggest spoiler from the entire show. So obviously then Negan intercepts them with Maggie. Maggie's very seriously ill. He has them all on their knees, and to cut a long story short, he kills Abraham and Glenn. I thought, with his baseball bat Lucille, I thought Abraham's death was quite shocking. It was enough. Glenn is killed because Daryl gets quite angry and goes for Negan. So as punishment for Daryl's behaviour, he then kills Glenn. Everyone was talking about this scene. I hated it. I don't dislike gore. I'm not squeamish. I don't have difficulty watching certain things, but that scene to me was too much. I just felt it was gratuitous. Just the bit with Glenn and the eyeball and how long it showed it. A very, very quick glimpse would have been enough. I mean, Abraham's death was shocking, but it wasn't as graphic as Glenn's. Just the way Glenn tries to talk to Maggie right at the end, it's heartbreaking. I found it very difficult to watch. Not because I'm squeamish, but because I felt it was something they were manipulating for viewers, and I didn't think that was the right way to go with that. A lot of people will disagree because the show is about blood and guts after all, so maybe I'm in the wrong there. It was a bit much for me. I looked away. So it ends on season 6. We know that Negan's just killed someone, but we don't actually know who. Start of season 7, they make people wait all that time, and then we find out who's died. So season 7, Daryl gets captured. He's held by the Saviours. Carl goes to the Kingdom, meets Ezekiel the King, and Morgan is there as well. This is another plot line which should never have existed. It's just a waste of time in my opinion. Tara finds a group of women somewhere called Oceanside. It spends a lot of time with her and them, and they swear her to secrecy and not to tell anyone that they exist. But really, there's never really been any point to those people. They don't come back into it to any real effect. Again, it's a bunch of characters that we don't care about. It's like, were your regulars on holiday? Did they need a break? What's going on there? So anyway, Eugene's taken by Negan. He's a turncoat. He doesn't know whose side he's on. It just irritates me. Carl is always also taken by Negan. He's going to try to kill Negan, and Negan manages to capture him. But Negan seems to have a soft spot for Carl. So even though he threatens to do him harm, he doesn't. Then we find the Scavengers. Don't like these guys either. Understand the necessity for them to be in it. Really don't like the lead female character in that. She's just irritating. So Father Gabriel takes supplies to the Scavengers. Is this where the Scavengers double cross them? Yeah. So Rick wants the Scavengers to side with them against Negan. And the Scavengers say we'll help you if you bring us a certain amount of guns, ammunition. And they manage to get the guns and ammunition, which they really seriously could do with themselves, but they give them to the scavengers, who then say, no, that's not enough, we want double. So obviously Rick's a bit pissed off. Sasha, I haven't mentioned her, but if you watch The Walking Dead, you'll know who I mean. She's captured in this one. Her and another girl are going to try and kill Negan. She gets captured. This is where she begs Eugene to give her a weapon. He doesn't. He gives her a suicide pill that he has made for someone else. And basically the only way she can try and have any effect, she takes this pill. She's put inside a coffin to be transported to Alexandria, and she takes the pill knowing that she will wake up as a zombie and potentially manage to get Negan, or one of the bad guys. At the end of this one, when she comes out of the coffin, the season culminates in, it's meant to be Alexandria fighting alongside the scavengers against the saviors, but at the last minute, the scavengers side with the saviors against Alexandria. It seems like all's lost. That ends the 7th season. You'll be glad to know I'm now on to season 8, and I still haven't told you why I think it shouldn't be going on anymore. So season 8. This one's called All Out War. It's a pity it wasn't. Rick goes back to the scavengers and asks Jadis, the lady that's the head of the scavengers, why he does this as anyone's guess. He goes back to her and he asks for help again. She refuses. And she locks him up, keeps him prisoner, and they try and kill him with this fucked up looking like walker half metal thing, which is one of the cooler things about this season, one of the few pieces of action we have. While all this is going on, Carl has befriended a guy called Sadiq, who comes into it later. He's got medical experience. Rick and the rest don't want to trust anyone else, so they don't like the fact he's helping someone, but he does anyway. Eugene's now helping Negan. He's like the right-hand guy. He's gave Negan the idea that a really good thing to do would be to contaminate bullets with the blood and guts of the walkers. Therefore, anyone they shoot's going to automatically turn. And this is the plan that Negan's going forward with. And what have I got written down? Although Negan does help Father Gabriel and the Doctor to escape from the sanctuary, I think he's feeling a bit guilty. Doctor ends up getting killed anyway, so what good's that? Negan attacks Alexandria again, and it's at this stage, in the midst of all the action, in the midst of what's meant to be all the action, that Carl reveals he's previously been bitten. Darren's getting really excited at this point because he's like, well, you can't get out of that one. Carl dies, which I didn't particularly find all that moving. I should have done, but I didn't. Potentially my husband's glee took a bit of the edge off it, I'm not too sure. And also within this one, all of the junkyard, one of Negan's main guys, Simon, who's an awful man, Negan tells him to go and kill one member of the scrapyard, the junkyard, in punishment, and he takes it upon himself to kill all of them, with the exception of the lead female, Jadis. Then she is left to contend with all the walkers that were her previous family and friends, and in probably the best scene of season 8, she kills all of them by luring them into a big like waste crusher thing, and like all the zombies are going into this and just been all mushed up. It was pretty cool. It was really well done. That's probably was sadder to me than Carl's death, because even though I don't like Jadis, you know that she's watching all her friends, all her family, all die in front of her. It was quite a desperate scene. So what else? The only other thing of any note that has happened, which I've written here at the end, is a lady has shown up called Georgie, an older lady, in a big van, and she has asked for supplies from Hilltop, asked Maggie, in return for information that she has. After a bit of to and fro, when Maggie agrees, the lady sees that Hilltop doesn't have anywhere near what they do, so she says, no, I don't want much. She takes some records, and she gives Maggie a a book called Key to the Future. It's full of plans for silos and grain and building like water towers and irrigation. You know, it's got basically the full plans for the setup of a community and from scratch. And she says she's going to come back and she will want supplies at a later date when they've got them. But she thinks they're good people and she trusts them with the information and hopes that they make good with this information. So that's basically where we've got to now. The last episode I watched, which was episode 12, I think, is where Negan and Rick have a bit of a battle in along with all the zombies, which I found very funny. And Rick gets his hands on Lucille and sets fire to her, which Negan is distraught. And it ends. You don't exactly know what's happened, but the episode ended with Jadis, the lead lady from the scavenger group, driving a car, and Negan is just regaining consciousness in the passenger seat and he's tied up. So she's got her hands on him. What happens next? So anyway, that was a long summing up. I apologise, but that's where I'm at the minute. So, why do I think The Walking Dead should have finished? I loved season 1. I liked season 2. Season 3 was slow. Season 4, oh, I just lost the will to live. Started watching again in season 5. Watched 5, 6 and 7 very closely together. Started getting really into it again. But after the stage where Glenn and Abraham were killed by Negan, things have gone down the toilet as far as I'm concerned. The action has disappeared. Walkers, which were the predominant force of the programme, are now not a threat. They are now an inconvenience. They're very easily dispatched, and the main concentration of this show seems to be these people that they're falling out with, that they're having run-ins with. They have, is it 7, 8 years now they've been wandering around and they're still running into new people that they hadn't previously, even though they have not travelled outside of 4 states in America. Having looked up, there are 44 states that they have not travelled into, and given that they've been wandering for 8 years, this seems to me a bit ridiculous. So I've written down some things that irk me about The Walking Dead and why I think it should end. Firstly, everything seems to go in a cycle that repeats itself. They find what they think is a safe zone, they discover it's not a safe zone, things happen, people die, they move on. Only to find another safe zone that they think is a safe zone, it's not a safe zone, people die, they move on. This has been happening now for several seasons. I've written down about the 4 states covered, 44 left. From what I've read on the internet, numbers of people only tend to tune into The Walking Dead now when they know something major is going to happen. It's leaked beforehand, so people do tune in and watch. But the, like, what I'll call filler episodes, people just don't care anymore. They're bored, for want of a better word. Where are the zombies? I've written here they're a distraction now. Where's all the new people coming from? Why have they not run into them before? I think I said that already. Predictability is another thing. You know what's going to happen before it happens now, with the exception of a couple of things that happened within the show. Everything's slow. There's no change of pace. It just seems to meander and plod slowly along. I want to be shocked. I want to be surprised. I want to be horrified. And given that I've now been watching it a further 2 seasons after the last time I was horrified, I'm ready to be horrified again, guys. Come on. Useless characters I've written. Mean by that, characters that are introduced that are of no consequence, that are going to die, that we don't care about, that you're wasting time with. The hospital, Oceanside, pointless. No point. Yes. Ridiculous romances, that they seem to think we need to keep seeing people having romances and relationships in the midst of all this, as if you can't have a story or a plot without the need for romance. We don't need to see it, we're not bothered. So we've got Jesse and Rick. Jesse is the abused housewife within Alexandria that Rick gets with very, very, it's very short-lived, very quickly over. What was the point? Then we've got Michonne and Rick. I love the character of Michonne. I think she's amazing. Love her. her and Rick getting together purely because they're the two strongest, you know, the strongest woman, the strongest man. Well, don't know if he's the strongest man, but you know what I mean. You didn't need to put them together. You know, it's just a weird mix to me. Abraham and Sasha. What was wrong with the absolutely beautiful girl he was with? Why is he now looking elsewhere? Why is Sasha falling for him? It wasn't the softest, hardest of men. He didn't really wear his heart on his sleeve. They just seemed to have a complete preoccupation with putting people with other people. Even we had Carl with the girl that, I can't remember her name, the young girl within Alexandria, they even had a kiss there too. You don't need to keep pairing people off. Stop it. Character unity has gone. Family non-existent, children aren't seen. One of the strongest points of the show, and it very much came into effect when we lost Glenn. When we lost Abraham also, but more so Glenn, because we had invested time and emotion within this character. Glenn and Maggie is a relationship I do feel should have happened. That one was one of the mainstays of the show. It fit. It worked. And when we lost Glenn, we automatically thought about Maggie, about the unborn child, about the ramifications for the greater group. There was shock, there was disbelief. We've lost that. Now, when people die, we don't care. We don't care who they are, what they've done. We're not losing people that we care enough about. We don't see Rick's daughter hardly at all. We don't see any children. There's no reminder of family within the programme, of the importance of family, of what they're fighting for. That seems to have been lost. The emotion side of things. So, that also. I've written no end in sight, never ending loop. It just feels to me like we're going round and round and round over the same crap over and over again. Mind tricks. Who didn't get irritated when there were rumours that Glenn was going to die and we had the scene where he was lying on his back and zombies were ripping out his guts? Only to find out in the next episode he had a corpse on top of him, and even though he was lying there screaming, "Ah!", it wasn't his guts, it was someone else's. I don't like mind tricks. It's like Bobby and Dallas. Stop it. And when they ended on Negan bashing someone over the head and we didn't know who it was, we had to wait until the next season. Right, consistency is another thing I've written. So, we have a bullet shortage, we have a weapons shortage, obviously. There's talk of Eugene going to make bullets, which is only just happening now with the Saviours. But in the scene where you'll remember Negan standing on a balcony, there's ample opportunity for a sniper to take him out there and then with one bullet. They don't. There is a all-out gun battle, bullets everywhere. Obviously they miss. They're always going to miss. It's the A-team all over again. Why is this happening with such a shortage of bullets? Why did they not use explosives? Why did a sniper not take Negan out on that balcony? Don't get it. So it's a consistency thing. 1 minute we've got no bullets, we've got no guns, we've got a shortage of this, and the next minute they're firing all around them when they don't need to. Blah blah blah. I have read, this more or less all the reasons, I have read what Andrew Lincoln, who plays Rick Grimes, would like to happen at the end, and I think it would be awesome. Well, one of the concepts of what he said I would love to see happen, where at the end, he sort of like is at the mercy of a group of zombies, and it turns out that he all the time has been immune from the zombies, so it's like everything that he's gone through, the fighting that he has done, and he finds out he didn't need to do any of that. He was immune. He's never going to die of zombie attack. I would love it. I don't think it'll happen. I don't know how the comics ended. Don't tell me. That's the thing I'm saying why The Walking Dead should end, but I'll probably keep watching it. So yeah, I'd love to see that happen. But I do think AMC should have pulled it a couple of seasons back. Should have let them go out on a high. I mean, another example is Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad, awesome show. When it ended, the ratings were going up and up and up. There was no slump in that show, but they allowed the creators of Breaking Bad to make the decision when they wanted to end. And they ended on a high. The show just didn't get shit. It didn't have time to. The Walking Dead is getting time to just meander into something that people just aren't going to care about. I think that's a... one thing my husband always says that I just remember to put in here. Why, when the zombie virus is airborne, when a person gets zombie blood on their face, you know, like they get shot and there's like, and it's everywhere. People are getting zombie blood in their eyes and in their mouth, and why are these people not becoming zombies? Why does a face full of zombie blood not lead into them turning? He really gets irritated. My husband is a massive fan of the zombie genre, and that really irritates him. That's one of the small things. But yep, anyway, I think I shall stop talking now. I apologise for the lengthiness of this. It wasn't really meant to be this long, but Walking Dead needs to improve. It needs to get some action back in there. We need to see what made us love it to start with. We need another shock death. Don't kill Negan. Please don't kill Negan. Negan's my favourite. Daryl, what's happened to Daryl? Really? He's just turned from a kick-ass character into a moaning Minnie that's never seen. Not impressed with what's happened to Daryl. Carl, just go away. She's constantly going to run away, and Morgan's going to constantly find her and bring her back with a stick that he doesn't want to kill anyone with. We need a shake-up, guys. We need something to change. We need to make The Walking Dead good again. I'd love to hear other people's viewpoints. I'd love to hear if you're enjoying it. I know a lot of people have stopped watching on my friends list on Facebook. It's something we do talk about a bit, how we feel about how downhill this programme has gone. But I continue to watch because I keep this vain hope that it will improve, that I'll get another shock. As long as they don't kill Negan. If they kill Negan, I'm not watching anymore. And you guys that read comic books will know what will know if that's going to happen, so you know in advance. Don't tell me. Just tell me what your thoughts are. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you not watch it? Did you stop watching it? Do you still watch it? So that's it from me. Thanks for watching and listening to my inane rambling. It's over and out from Lisa Loves.